Hello, Helen.
Hi, Rob. Term 2, fresh start, and we are faced with some choices this term.
I know, it's very exciting because what are the choices that we have?
Well, I could stick with what I know and what is good and what I've always done, or I could
Make some different choices.
make it creative, make it practical, make it more problem solving, bring more tech into it.
Or make it coach in the classes.
That's my choice. That's my choice. Coach in the class. So, Rob, what have you got for us in grade 5?
Well, it's very exciting because we've got grade 5 stuff. And it's let's get physical.
Awesome. So tell us about this practical task.
So really the focus in geography should be practical. So I've really tried to make this term's work as practical as possible. The first lesson is all about cross sections and those quite exciting terms, the escarpment and the coastal plain, and the kids never know what's going on. So I've made it very practical. They are going to work in partners, doing little 1 centimeter dots all down the midline of one person. And then they are going to, once they've done that, they're going to get the person to lie flat on the ground. And they're going to use a ruler to sort of do a perpendicular measurement down to a piece of paper from each dot. And they're going to measure 19.8 centimeters and 19. And then the person's going to sit up and they're going to put the paper flat. And they're going to then measure from the dot that they made on the ground, if you know what I mean, up. However many centimeters, and draw their own cross section.
Understand cross section after this lesson. You've really done that well.
So once they've done that, they're going to go and watch a video. I spent ages trying to find something relevant to South Africa, but eventually just made my own video.
Well done.
And I think teachers need to also take charge of that. If you can't find something,
make
your own. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be brilliant. It just needs to be effective. And then the learners are going to make their own notes from that video. And there is a little assessment task here as well for them. More exciting than that is that the downloaded Google Earth Pro, that version that you put onto your desktop, you can actually make a cross section from any 2 points or more points even, a cross section through some points. And it shows you then what it looks like, which is super cool.
That's so amazing. And you said you can do it between any 2 points, so we could play around, and I could work out from PE to Durban.
Yes, what it looks like.
Yes, or to St. Francis Bay, because I'm going to ride my bicycle there.
And you can even compare, the cross section from Durban to Port Nolloth. What does it look like from PE to Port Nolloth and Cape Town to Port Nolloth?
Awesome. I love it when it does the whole graph for me and I needn't plot it out myself.
Exactly. And the kids love playing on that. The next lesson, learners have to investigate 2 areas that are seemingly similar, but actually quite different.
So it's comparisons, which we're doing, and we're using the double bubble map.
Yes.
So it's another tool.
It's another tool. And they're also going to be doing a little bit of thinking for themselves, looking at the pictures here. Little Karoo, Great Karoo, they've got the same name. Why are they different?
So they're looking at how close are they to the coastline, what's their elevation, where are the mountains, and therefore how does it affect the rainfall?
Exactly.
So
I know, isn't this exciting?
So here are the groups. So I might be in group 1, and we're going to research Kalahari and Namakwa land, and we're going to compare those in the double bubble map.
Yes.
And then by seeing round 2 here, you're doing expert groups.
Yes. So in round 2, one person from each of the group 1, 2, and 3 are going to come together. So you'll have a whole load of groups of 3, and each of the experts is going to share their information, their discoveries with the other 2 in the group to help them complete their work.
And when you teach, you learn twice as well, because you've got to know your oats before you can teach.
Exactly.
So each child will have 3 double bubble maps putting this information. What a nice way to make a note instead of full page of writing.
Exactly. And then the next 2 lessons, because this is going to take a bit of time, is a bit of a research project on in which each learner is going to look for 3 physical features in their province. So if you live in KwaZulu-Natal, you'll be using this worksheet. There is one for each of the provinces, and the learners can choose 3 physical features close to them, a variety. It's actually up to you as the teacher how you kind of put. Then they're going to also write down a physical description of each of those features.
Brilliant. And of course we can do an assessment, continuous assessment, lovely rubric here for us. Makes it so much easier, and for 25 marks.
Yes, and so that makes it nice and easy to then do a formal assessment kind of halfway through the term.
And of course, you would show the children the rubrics that they knew on how they were going to be marked.
And then if you are tech loaded, once again, you can go onto Google Earth. This time it's actually the web-based version, and you don't have to download anything. And instead of working on paper to mark off those physical features and discuss origins of names, you can actually do it as a project on Google Earth and embed videos, photographs. The children can still write their own texts, etc., and you can just adapt that
gonna book those Chromebooks today.
Lovely. So that's
we're on it, but we've got grade 4 covered in a big way.
And what's unique in grade 4?
Oh, well, let's just tell them that we got a whole new story going for them.
Fabulous.
So grade 4 this term with us is matter and material. Then we chose communication through time because it fits in with this content. And then map skills is what they're doing. But there's a story that holds it all together.
And that's the unique feature for Coaching the Class.
We've taken Sam, Tammy, and Jem from last term, and we've made a whole story this term where they're all at Jem's house.
Fabulous.
He lives in this old 1940s house. And one day, while having Ina Blatten cookies and cocoa in the kitchen, they notice a trapdoor and they go down the trapdoor. And of course, there are 3 doors, and each of them has an adventure.
Fabulous. I can't wait to read it.
And then loads of times where you're going to question what's not good about this situation. And remember, you're looking at your phases, your material, and building a bridge. And what's good? What are the positives? So the hats come in all the time. Red hat, how do you feel about it? White hat, what are the facts? And so this whole story is going to happen. There is, besides the story, so there's the whole lesson book where teachers are given a sort of overview of what's happening. There's a whole storybook, and the storybook is linked in each of these weeks, has a little story attached to it.
Fabulous.
And the story, so this is the story for the geography and the history. You can see it's the map work. Solids around him, think solids, liquids, and gases. You can background. So in his little cave, all those things are there, and the phases of matter, all the solids we can touch, the bridge, because he's got to get those gold coins on the other side.
How did those gold coins even get there?
We don't know. Long ago, somebody put them there. And so each story doesn't just tell you a fun part about the kids. It also gives you factual information. So it says there are loads of solids with rocks and boxes and the gold coins. But solids are easy to spot as they have a definite shape and size. Do you see how we're giving you the content and the information?
It's wonderful. So instead of reading page 36, 2 paragraphs out of a textbook, that same information that they would have been given is now part of the story.
And it goes on to say that the leather they're smelling, because solids sometimes have a smell and they sometimes have color, but it's part of the story before you start the factual stuff.
So without even knowing, children are getting exposed to this additional information.
Absolutely. And so it happens in the geography too, where Amy, who was floating above, comes down to the little city, looks at a board that she sees. Referencing and grid references help one to pinpoint locations on a map to inform others who might need to get there.
I'm already picturing the notes that would have been written on the board for this particular section.
But it's a story instead, and you listen to stories. They are exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for lesson 3 in the communications one, you have to look at Morse code. And Jem here is thrilled because he learns a little bit. Hey, man, I think this is an old Morse code machine. Now, this really is old. And it is war.
I love the way that there's bits of information and general knowledge embedded into the story all the time. It makes it so rich.
And then, of course, they're going to use this Morse code to escape from an escape room. How awesome is that? So it's exciting, amazing. It's gripping, it's within their level of understanding, and the story hides all that
extra stuff.
white hat content.
I love it, Helen. That's so exciting.
So I would make the change. I would be bold. I'm ready. And if you want to make the change for 200 Rand a subject, a little bit more for the NST because it's 16 lessons instead of 8, you can go to Coach in the Class.
I love it. And I think if you're wanting to make just one change, you can make a choice to go and visit Coach in the Class. There's sample lessons, lesson number 1 of all our.
For
and
free.
Then choose us again.
And then $200 and you've got the rest. And then you can go and have a term.
I love it. I love it. Helen, good
Next
luck.
week.
Yeah, good luck for the rest of this week. It's lovely. It's a 4-day week, and so is next week, and the week after, and the week after that.
Can do this.
I love it. Have a great week.